Welcome, everybody, to the Spellbound Survivor Stockwatch. I am your host, Jacob Armstrong. I'm accompanied here with Jared Voorhees, and we're here to break down not just the final round of the pre-jury, but the first round of the jury, the mania that occurred during live night, which I honestly, I think Land of Oz still has them beat, but we do have a 12th and 11th placers. We had two boots to talk about, and we have all of the top 10 right here. Jared, how did you feel about this rotation?
I mean, Live Night, it's hard to live up to season four's Live Night and the iconic first juror that was booted there. Um, but prior to that, the first tribal was interesting just because of shenanigans of will the idol be played, who's the backup, and then the other tribe taking a more calm approach, like how are we going to handle Live Night? And then the tribe who went to tribal not really planning for Live Night. So. It was an interesting round until live night.
Yeah, Live Night was pretty disappointing. Like a lot of setting up for the events of Live Night themselves. I think this has been the cast that has done the most preparations for, which I think is also partially due
I don't
to
know.
there
I
being
was prepping for live night and it failed me.
I think the whole cast, like, I think a good chunk of the cast was kind of like blindsided by this fact because they didn't do their homework beforehand. Like, this cast also does have returnees. Like, it does have Jay Wan, Kevin, which to be fair, they're all on one tribe. So, like, maybe, but a couple people who attended a tribal council, why I'm deliberately telling them, oh, we have done this in past seasons. And by past seasons, I mean every past season. Um, but it's kind of been like led to a tribal council where not that much happened. Um, but nonetheless, we still have Reluve Baravi to talk about. This being the last rotation before the merge, like the game finally like kicks off. Like we've been talking in circles about who could potentially do good, who can interact with each other. Like we want to see link up in this game, whom we think can make a run for it, and now this is like finally time we get to see it happen. We have a front runner, somebody whom had been in very high estimation to go on potentially win the game, go home, and then Sanam went before him. So like we really have a very a double feature of shocking boots this round for very different
Oh, that's
reasons.
right.
Yes.
The person you were like riding for went home.
In my defense, I did say he could place anywhere. I left the door open so that if he does not meet the high standards, the unrealistic standards he couldn't have surmounted to, that if he does place low, I'm like, I did say he could be anywhere, because it was very unpredictable. But what we do is or at least the past couple stock watches, we've talked about the winning tribe first because so much of the round was boring going into the night tribe because like they didn't have anything to do. Whereas the tribe that went to tribal council, I think it's more interesting to talk about how they talked about that round specifically. But I kind of want to go talk about Reluve first and just talk about their prospects now that they've merged as a whole. You down to do that?
Well,
Or what do you think?
yeah, I mean, as a whole, I mean, you, it's a really interesting concept because you like comparing this to season four, you know, the tribe that went to the last pre-merge tribal lost the person at merge, the merge boot. So I didn't think about that till now. So I don't know if that's happened every season, what the history of that is. Um, but I mean, these four people on the remaining Roluve are very strong people in their own ways. And I think that they're very interesting people overall in the merge who I think can do well and make it pretty far. So this is a solid group to have representing your tribe going forward.
I kind of want before I kind of talk about that. Can you please clarify what you mean if it hasn't happened to Bub on Survivor before? Like, what can you So I can help you out, like as a Spellbound historian of
So,
it all.
you know, Spellbound Survivor, the last pre-merge, the tribe that goes to the last pre-merge tribal, okay? In this case, it was Reluve. They lost Sanam. And then the live night tribal, they lose
We lost
Sergio. So
someone
they lose
again.
two people in
Yes.
like one night. And my season, it was we voted out Tommy and then I left.
I gotta go back. That's because I was about to say, I was like, I didn't know if you were asking like if I was confused by the question. I guess in retrospect, it was not a very complicated question to answer. Season one, this did not happen. I know that much for a fact because it was a tribe that went from 4 to 2 because of the swap. We were rotted, and they didn't lose somebody. They kind of lost like somebody whom was not long for the game. I gotta check season twos and threes. I'm not sure about those. I will go back and confirm. Actually, okay. So season twos, yes. That what happened did happen where a tribe that ended up losing or going to the last pre-jury thing went to tribal or like lost somebody at the live night. And did it happen in season three? Okay, it did not happen in season three. So did happen seasons 2 and 4 and here, but did not happen in seasons 1 and 3. But as you were saying earlier, I think for very different reasons, all four of these players can do really well. There's one I have significantly more worries for than the other three, but I think it's weird when we get to Ryu. I want to start off with Caleb because Caleb continues to excel socially. He continues to be lots of people's most trusted player, trusted person in the game, and is forging all these important bonds. And I think was one of the biggest people who benefited the most from Sanam going home the first tribal council, and even Sergio the second, because Sergio wasn't particularly high on Caleb, and vice versa. And I first was concerned because I was like, oh,
I mean, according to the last trust rankings we
yeah,
received from Sergio, which Sergio went back and forth
yeah.
on his stuff. The last thing we received, Caleb was Sergio's number one.
It's like,
But I understand what you're saying. I just
because it's
wanted to point
like, because he's as inconsistent as he has been. It's like, I know, because I know, like, going into this, like, Caleb had Sergio fourth. And I think at one point Sergio was, oh, Caleb had, Caleb had Sergio third. I thought Caleb had Sergio fourth. At least last round. Um,
Yeah, last
round
round he
six.
had um Caleb had Sergio at three, Lily at four.
Okay, and then gotcha.
The trust rankings are fucked up
Yeah,
from
yeah.
what I've
Honestly,
heard.
Caleb and Sergio are like the last two people. Maybe I should be looking at the rankings for because they change as often as they do. Um, but no. So Caleb, I feel like was honestly benefits in a multitude of ways. Sanam was somebody who has another one of the idols. That's an idol now, completely out of the picture. Which makes Caleb's and Ryu's idol now that he's also like solidifying that bond with Ryu. Now they've reunited. Ryu's got an idol, and now they're also talking about how to manage these idols moving forward. Because not only does Ryu know now, also Edward knows, and he's doing enough work to where both of them are looking like, okay, I really need this person in the team, need this person in the game. I really need Caleb, not just wanting him, but needing him long term. I do think that the way that they're handling, or Caleb is handling the conversation of whose idol to use first, because due to all the Ryu shenanigans, Ryu is a target moving forward and is a very valuable shield to Caleb, but one that he's because Ryu is so undyingly loyal to Caleb, he benefits from keeping in for as long as possible, whether it be to serve as almost single-handedly as a shield, but that is somebody who is not going to be writing Caleb's name down, especially not anytime soon, even if the occasion calls for it. I don't take Ryu as somebody who will votes with the majority if he's already made it abundantly clear that he's strongly against what's happening, even if like him changing his vote wouldn't change anything. So that has been interesting talking about how Ryu's idol is public, whereas Caleb's being secret is very important. And we'll see, I know that obviously Edward's very close with Jeremy. Is very close with Lily. Could easily have or potentially will leak Caleb's idol at some point, and that may open up the door for Caleb to be blindsided. But until then, I feel like he has now linked up with Aaliyah, and I think with Aaliyah comes Mikey. He has this relationship with J1, which I think will be interesting because they were very close in Hypnotic, but also it's like J1 wants to link up with Caleb. Caleb, at least at the time, like them merging and stuff like that, Caleb's like, last we heard about him feeling about J1, he said J1 can eat his ass. So it's like because obviously J1 cut him at the end, and but he still voted for him. So I think there's at least like some pre-existing relationship that I think can be quelled if they were to meet together. I'm gonna give him an 8, but you can say what your thoughts are on Caleb because I said a lot, and I'm sorry. I love you, Jared.
No, I mean everything you said is correct. The thing that I'll add is I mean I am worried that he did tell Edward and Ryu about the idol. Um, but I mean Caleb's just so interesting because I was gonna talk about the whole tribe's trust rankings. You know, he was at a 2.2 overall. Next highest was Lily at a 2.6. And then you had three people with a 3. That's crazy. So, and if you, the lowest rated person was Sanam. And they were all pretty much like in agreement that like they wanted either Sanam gone or Sanam's idol gone. I mean, they got both, but they wanted her out in some way, and that really was best for Caleb. Um, I do just want to see how he will maneuver in this merge tribe because like Jeremy has already clocked him and Aaliyah as like power players, like in their second swap when they were on Vulavu, or technically the first swap when they were on Vulavu. Um, so interested to see like how he manages threat level early on, but then what happens later on. But I mean, overall, I think Caleb, until we see it, will always somehow be like in a good spot. Um, I'll agree with the 8. I've debated the 9, but I don't think that like there is enough to get the 9.
It's yeah, it's like because I was contemplating it. I was like for sure at least 8. Because like I do think Sanam going here was it was like a very maybe Caleb might not have felt this way. Well, to be fair, Caleb's just generally a very paranoid person. At least he expresses this to us, not as much as maybe he's expressing to others. But Sanam was not. Whereas, like, if they got rid of Sergio, this first tribal council, I don't see how Sanam goes during the second one, unless they're able to get like Caleb and Mike, like Caleb, Aaliyah and Mikey into a breakout room and be like, look, now's the opportunity. We need Sanam out desperately. To which so many things can go wrong when in a public setting like that. Just one person can just join in on that Zoom, on that breakout room, and alarm Sanam. Sanam, play your idol. You're going to be catching votes tonight. Whereas here, at least trying to quell the flames of paranoia just a little bit beforehand. It gets the idol out at the very least, weakens Sanam, or just getting Sanam out and blindsiding her like is good, and it opens the door for Sergio to still be the next boot, which I think that I can't even I don't even know if Sergio going's good for Caleb because like you said last time we heard from Sergio he was number one. But he changes trust rankings so much and who he wants on a dime. He agreed to 3 different people going home at some point and then pre-voted Caleb. So it's like, I don't know. But I don't know if you have any final thoughts on Caleb and his prospects as a whole, or you want to move on to Edward.
Not really. I think a lot of it's just gonna come down to when we talk to Sanam. But I do think it was a really good play for these 5, because Sergio did vote for Sanam, um, to get rid of Sanam. Um, but we'll get to the Sanam portion of it later. Oh, I'll
So
go. Yeah, I'll do Edward. Edward, I mean, he's never really been in like similar to Caleb, he's never really been in danger. Actually, Caleb, Lily, and Edward have never really been in danger on their any tribe they've been on. I mean, from the outside looking in Vulavu, Edward was in danger. But we saw what happened. He linked up with Caleb, Aaliyah, and Jeremy, so he was safe. So really, those three have never really faced any danger. And this was probably a really good tribe for Edward to end on because he had a quick touch base with Jeremy during the first swap. So he got to establish that connection because they're friends outside of this game, but they've solidified something in this game. But then Edward gets to stay with Lily. He, you know, keeps that relationship building. Um, he keeps Caleb, but away from Aaliyah, so he can build that relationship. And then he meets Ryu, who is integral to Caleb's game, kind of, because they started off together and they've kind of always been working together. So he got to build a lot of new connections on this tribe that were probably beneficial to his game, like even going into Merge. Getting rid of Sanam, I think, oh yeah, sorry, how could I forget? Sanam and Edward were oil and water. They just for some reason didn't could never work out. Um, so it was a really good play to get rid of Sanam, even though Edward didn't vote out Sanam. But I think that um, Edward getting rid of Sergio was probably also good for his game. Yeah, because Sergio last ranking we had, rated him fourth. Um, so I think overall, for if he had to lose two people from this tribe, it was overall a net positive for Edward. Um, and then looking at Merge, he has a relationship with Aaliyah. He's never met Bryant. I don't think he's ever met Jay. He knows Jeremy. He never met Kevin.
Wait, yeah, no, he started with J1.
Oh, that's right. Thank
Yeah,
you.
and he's my
Yeah. So he gets back together with Mikey and Jay, which can we talk about the fact that the Vuluvu tribe, who they lose like two of the original swap like
yeah, like
OG
OG tribes, yeah.
OG tribes, they lose two challenges. They're supposed to be this disaster tribe, but they somehow end up with four people in the swap.
Reluve could
How?
never. This is Reluve could never. I mean, they brought technically, yeah, they have the
It's a 4-3.
plurality. Yeah, it's
It's
four to
four
three,
to three to three, which is insane.
which is yeah, I didn't expect that from Vuluvu. Yeah, no, so Edward is such an interesting person because I think Edward's a slow burner. Like while he's
hmm
never, I guess like aside from like the Edward Issa dilemma of it all, which like I will ask J1. I know J1's been dying to do a confessional, but Edward is somebody whom has never been really that much in the hot seat, like you said. But like even like there's people who just because they're in as good of positions as they are, have not had to face adversity or face much like retaliation, but are still being talked about as targets down the road. Like there's someone like Caleb and Aaliyah, like you said, like Jeremy and Edward were clocking, and we're saying that those two are the decision makers on Vuluvu 2.0. We have people being aware of, how like Lily and was sketched out by like J1, like there's people talking about Kevin and Sam being close, like no one's really been talking about Edward, and I think Edward is somebody who slowly but surely is building up those connections. And like I said, I think this is a great tribe to end off on because it not only strengthens the pre-existing relationships he has, but unlike with Sanam, the work he's doing kind of with like Ryu here and further doing with Caleb, it's like making sure his allies could see he can get along with their other allies. It's like, oh, no, no, see, that person that you linked up with and so, oh yeah, I like them. Oh yeah, fucks with them. Yeah, we could ride this out, like, and kind of does a lot of work trying to reassure Lily, trying to get on the same page as her, but not just because I remember last Stockwatch we talked about how Edward and Lily were like undying number ones, which there's some. things that Caleb was doing, trying to undercut Lily and kind of try to get Edward to be a little bit more wary of her, which we'll see come merge if he chooses Jeremy over Lily. I suspect that will be the case, but how many other people will he pick over Lily? That's yet to be seen. Um, I think Edward is somebody who could just is a dark horse. I think someone who could kind of like sneak by and not and people aren't going to talk about taking out until it's too late, where people are like, no one's talking about Edward. Like for someone who was, I guess, the a secondary vote during the Zach round and could have been saved just by the simple fact of he showed up to tribal, whereas Issa did not. Like he has, I think, some longevity in him because I think there's lots of people who I could see the threat level or the negative press that they've received catching up to them. But like Edward has neither of those things. Like I think Edward's like the best of both worlds. Like he's active enough to be present and not be perceived as inactive or but also strategic and also someone actually integral to people's plans. Like not just like a fifth or sixth in a group, but like actually in most people's cores. So I actually am going to also give Edward an 8. Um, maybe that's high. I thought I was going to come in here saying 7, but I honestly I have lots of Edward stock is really
No, I agree with you, and I'm trying not to, for reference, we're recording this after round eight, so I'm trying not to let round eight affect me. And um, I think because of that, I'm going to give him a 7, but I agree with the stocks rising. I'm excited for what we're going to see from Edward.
yeah. Like Edward's like such a funny like has been such like a wonderful presence. You know, he's always sending like his own like confessionals about how he feels about the game. He's always like, and
His
his sense of
weird
humor is so dry
one-liners.
and so
I love his
depressing.
humor.
Oh yeah, I love his sense of humor. I love this dude. That so like honestly, if not like seeing like a projection for him to go far, I hope he goes far. Just because I just think like he would be good for the season. You know, just to make it far. But
I
speaking,
can see him like sliding to like top five somehow.
mhm, it's just like no, right? Like maybe like he won't be the most. And honestly, maybe the 8 is pretty strong because it's like I don't know if he'll be the most powerful or influential person on the board. I think that there's likely I kind of see so many different worlds, Edward, like people he can link up with or choose as his number one. There's a world where like regardless of who he chooses, he will forever be resigned to being that person's sidekick and just kind of
Hmm.
being perceived as like a tag along, even if he is more intentional with his game than some people might see on like a jury. Um, wow, I, all my bias towards Sergio, I have to give to someone here. So that's so Edward. I'm still like genuinely doing good work, and this is not just me coping, but it's like Edward is now what I think Sergio could have been. And
If Sergio didn't go crazy
Sergio didn't go.
and showed up,
Oh my gosh, we're fucking get Sergio. We fucking get the fucking Sergio. But I know you love Lily, so you by all means can open up with Lily.
Lily's so interesting. Like the last, like round eight, round seven, and round six, like her game has just been so interesting to watch. Like Caleb, she's never been in danger. I know I said Edward earlier, but like, you made good points of he was technically, in consideration for two early votes, but Lily's never really been in danger. Um, I do just worry about um her connecting with these new people so late in the game. I mean, she hasn't officially met Bryant, Jeremy, or Kevin, going into the merge. But the good thing is that she's finally linking up with Bryant. They've been waiting for that to happen. Um, so merge prospects are high. Um, I think that I do wonder what will happen with her. um, because she has made statements, like she didn't want to vote out Sanam she is because Sanam is not a male. Did I say that right? I mean, because there are so many males left in the game, um, she wanted to at least not vote for a female or someone who is not a male, per how they identify, just because, such a small group of them left. And so I understand that. I just worry long term how that will affect her. I still think it was probably the best move to get rid of Sanam for everyone on this tribe. For Baravi people, it was bad for them, but the bananas were going to be a mess regardless. They have an internal battle, so I think overall it was still good. Sanam voted the minority, but the person she voted for ended up going home in the second tribal, so that was good. I still think she maintains all her relationships on this tribe, and she gets Bryant going into. Oh wait, I don't think she's met Aaliyah. Um,
No, she has not.
so another new connection that she has to build.
Jeremy, she hasn't met. Um,
Kevin, Jeremy, Bryant,
oh yeah,
Aaliyah.
she has not met Kevin. Yeah, so she there's a good chunk of the cast she still hasn't met yet. Which like I know you mentioned this is being recorded after round eight, which is true. I have like my notes from when we were projecting the Stockwatch eventually to be, and that's kind of what I'm basing my stocks on. But yeah, no, sorry. Continue what you were saying.
You're good. Um, um, so she is, and I have faith in Lily that she can manage and emerge. I'll just be interested to see how it goes because really she has thrived better in smaller groups. Um, so mm, did she do better than last week? Is the question, or last round? So I think last round I gave her a 7, but I'm gonna give her a 7 again, but I'm open to it being an 8.
Um, here's the thing. Um, I, I think I'm actually also considering a seven. I'm gonna put it tentatively, but I'm gonna talk. And this happens quite a few times where I talk myself into giving a different rating. So like, let's see in real time if it happens. Um, thing with Lily this round, Sunam going home was as unfortunate as the circumstances around it are. Like it is true, it's only her and Aaliyah that are left are not male or masculine identifying. Because here's the thing. I'm not as well versed or as educated on the subject of how people identify themselves. I know like Mikey, for example, it's he, they, and not just he. So like whether Mikey would be considered a male, like it's tricky, and I don't want to undermine Lily's sentiments because the reality of the matter is there are three people who identify as women in the final 12, and one of them ends up getting sent home. And we're seeing a lot of other non-binary people and other like like we have Issa's gone, Aston's gone, Morgan's gone. Like we they already had the odds stacked against them from the beginning for someone not male presenting to potentially go on to win the game and run things. So I completely understand your sentiments of not wanting to personally vote off Sinan. I mean, I've been there. Not necessarily like the male woman side of things because I think I've never been on a cast where there's been more women than men. So I don't feel that. And also how would a man be able to in one of these games say I can't vote another man off? Like just that just sounds just fucking dumb. Like just sound like an but POCs for sure I've been conflicted on. Like if you also that's something that lots of orgs run into too, like lack of diversity. And like you see CBS like also starting to slip with the diversity mandate. Like I don't think 27 was 50% and love Rachel Riley, but Rachel Riley didn't make that percentage worse. As far as what I know who are POCs, I don't think they made it to 50% this last season, which worries me. Um, But I just see that as generally like a struggle with horse. Totally get that. Lily this round does still some good work. She's forced to play with her bestie, Ryu, for not just one but two more rounds. Um, and what I thought was a decent relationship with Sergio, um, due to the fact that Ryu is safe for the sake of potentially weakening or doing something against Ryu's interests, it would have to be Sergio. Like, because you kind of look at the board, and I guess could have also been Caleb, but I don't think Caleb was plausible with this group of people. I think not with people like with like Edward, Caleb. Like the best she can manage is somehow this Sergio Sanam her group. Like that was basically her best bet. But Sanam, I think, was very fixated on wanting Edward gone, and Sergio was very unreliable, and lots of his lies were kind of unraveling throughout the course of the round. So like her hands were kind of what we keep seeing of like Lily not wanting somebody to go and them going not due to like bad gameplay on her end, but a dilemma that kind of put her hand, look, we're tied her hands behind her back, if you will. Because if Ryu was a plausible option, oh fucking best fucking believe Lily would have murked Ryu at the first opportunity. Although Lily herself, even before this point, like going on to this tribe, was like, I need to play good with Ryu, which I think is good, and I think is working. Because the way that they're talking right now at this point, they were kind of setting up like we need to pick up more numbers beyond the live night. Like they ideally wanted both gone for different reasons. Sergio for the chaos that he was ensuing, and Sanam for being the threat that she is, but also having a well-known idol in her pocket. Um, so yeah, no, Lily is going to be linking up with some people whom I think she can get along. Obviously, has this relationship with Bryant. I think Aaliyah has for sure expressed the same sentiment before because her OG tribe, she was the only girl on that as well. And I think, and even here too, like I mean, they both are dealing with the same dilemma of lacking representation. So I think they might link up, but also her relationship with Morgan, like telling her in advance about Aaliyah, I think that is already a bridge that can be crossed when they do link up here. Jeremy and Kevin, it's to be seen. I do know that Jaewon, who was Ryu before Ryu was Ryu to Lily, and just being someone that she just does not fuck with. Is doing at least some good, is doing some work to try to insulate himself within that, like Jeremy, Kevin Bryant, the bananas contingent of it all. And obviously, getting rid of Sanam's not great for the prospects of that group, but J1 may at least do at least some work to try to get Lily to like to be good with them, or at least the bananas to be good with Lily. So I think that's good enough. What I do need to see from her moving forward, though, because as unfortunate as all of these boots, like the Issa boot, the Morgan boot, now the Sanam boot have all been for Lily, um, I need to see action from her moving forward because that's a concern that I'm having right now, where she's this great social player. She's has no well upside. She loses a new ally, but then is able to make some new ones. But how many times are we going to be in a situation where Lily has enough connections to sway the vote elsewhere, but she doesn't do it because she's scared? Like, how many times can she do this without like also like losing win equity as a result, without losing too many numbers in the process, and therefore significantly worsening and like giving up her position in the game? Um, so yeah, I need to see that from her. Once I do see that from her, then I can bump her back up to like the eights and the nines that we've been assessing her the whole game. But yeah, honestly, seven I feel like is good for right now.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think I do want to see the action as well. And I think that when evaluating the first full merge run will be interesting for her. And then do you want me to start with Ryu or do you want to start?
I'm okay with I'm okay with whatever. If you have thoughts on, I just had to answer a text message really
No,
quickly.
you're good.
But no, I can start with Ryu. I can.
Okay.
No. Ryu is okay. Here's the thing with Ryu. Here's the thing with Ryu. I crazy thing. I don't hate the work he did this round. I don't. I think that he, for the most part, I think did all the things that he needed to do. For as big of a target as he's made of himself, both doing okay. First off, anyone who just takes greed, just the target grows exponentially. Again, like us giving a comparison to season four, Giraffes took it, and she, I think, by the end of the season, ties Jeremy for the most votes cast against them just throughout the season, and this is including the nullified votes during the tornado twist. But Giraffes was just somebody that so many people not on her side just had no interest in working with moving forward for a multitude of reasons, but that was being a big one. And so that does concern me about Ryu because Ryu was talked about by the other tribe as someone that they want to ideally see go home. But not only does Ryu do enough work to where he at least has traces of a core. Like he has Caleb, he has his future fusion pal, he has Edward who he's just meeting, and Edward seeing some benefits to taking Ryu further into the game as a potential shield, and it is kind of put Lily in this situation where she's kind of had to play with Ryu now. He has this idol that the other side fails to flush. Like they split the votes, like almost unintentionally to get Ryu out. Like they to the point where after Tribal Council, because they see Aaliyah self votes because she's not there. Good, so, yeah, we'll get there. But that fact that they're asking, did Sergio self vote too? Because the alternative is that Sergio voted for Ryu. That just doesn't make sense. It's like almost the side like successfully gets a split vote to where like if Ryu plays the idol on Sergio and tries to be cute, it backfires. It takes him out. But he doesn't do that. He says, I'm gonna trust the people like what they say. And granted, this could be very much benefited from the fact that Sergio was not there. He goes to Final 10, has an idol in his pocket, but he does have a big hill to climb in order for him to be in a better be in a spot reminiscent to where he was earlier on in the game because he was a contender at some point. He was somebody whom we were heavily considering to be on par with Aaliyah and OG Raluve and somebody who could have taken the power position and I guess technically did in Baravi 2.0, but not by force, just by just sheer like just work and willpower rather than like him forcing himself into the driver's seat. Um, he does like we he does have Aaliyah that he's linking back up with. That's good. He does have not only, but he also has I think just the rest of that tribe already not vibing with him for one reason or another. You have all the people who are hearing from Mikey himself about like recounting what happened on that tribal, but I don't think Lily's going to be forgetting anytime soon. So that is going to be tough. But Jared, you tell me your thoughts on
Did
it.
you see my message?
I did see your message.
Okay,
I'm going to check
perfect.
on that right now.
Thanks. Yeah, so Ryu is in like a really interesting situation of he he's gonna be doing damage control again. Um, so he took greed. Um, Sergio has said post being voted out that he was actually like really close to taking greed himself. So just imagine that, like Sergio takes it instead of Ryu. Ryu's potentially gone here. Maybe. You never know. That's actually a really interesting scenario if that would have happened. Um, but Ryu again is like I said, has to um damage control. I didn't get the sense that people are actually too mad at him on this tribe that he took greed because they were already expecting him to take greed. So maybe that was a good thing that he actually ended up taking it. Um, and also they found out they maybe yeah, thinking about it, maybe it wasn't a bad thing overall because Ryu gets to take out Sanam, which he had been kind of wanting to do. He then also, even though like he then also gets to take out Sergio, who he finally accepted was bad for his game because Sergio was wanting to get rid of Ryu. So it was actually, again, similar to maybe like Caleb, it was a net positive for both of them that Sanam and Ryu left because Sergio was just bad for Ryu's game in general because Sergio couldn't make up his mind and also was targeting Ryu. Sanam leaving because obviously Sanam actually probably would have stayed during live night and still had the idol, which Ryu was worried about. But he survives live night with the idol. He's almost like, have you seen Australian Survivor Titans v Rebels? So correct me if I'm wrong. I'm pretty sure Ferris had a public idol.
I'm that sounds right. If not, I think Miles definitely, well, Miles, but like
Yeah.
most things he had were public just because he didn't care.
Yeah.
But yeah, that does sound about right. I do see some Ferris upside for him.
Well, so the point I'm getting at is that I think it's either Ferris or maybe George, one of those people who has a bunch of idols. He has a public idol, so the perception of the idol is keeping him safe. We see that obviously he has immunity this round, but then people are like, oh, well, he's just going to play the idol, so we might as well not vote for him. So that's kind of, and he got lucky with the live night that it wasn't as hectic as it could have been, to where he received a single vote, and that was from Sergio.
But
Um,
two, it was him and Mikey.
oh, and Mikey, thank
Yeah,
you.
so, yeah.
Um, so he receives only two votes, which, really that's a victory on his end. Um, but then going into it, he gets to see Aaliyah again, which I think that they left on decent terms now. When you factor in the fact that Ryu took out Morgan, I don't know how they would be. He's never met Bryant, Jay, Jeremy. Wow, Ryu hasn't met a lot of these people.
Yeah, it's like that's four people right there that I feel like, and the and one of the two people he has met from the other tribe is Mikey, which I'm like kind of makes me worried that they could just be just like fuck Ryu just instantly. Like they have no interest in working with Ryu aside from like which I think the only person of those five that has expressed any interest in working with Jeremy is I mean working with Ryu is
Ryu is
Jeremy
Jeremy, yeah.
because Jeremy is like people are gonna get pissed when I take Ryu to the end of this game, which like. Megan, as she has done this whole season, has criticized Jeremy's decision making. But it's just like, oh, J- so like maybe he's not completely dead to rights. Like I do think there's a world where like he can, people will forget about the shenanigans he pulled, forget he pulled Greed, forget that he did that thing that sent Morgan home. And maybe find a winning, or maybe they won't, and his path to the end is through an abundance of immunity challenge wins. So we've had players who won immunities that needed to, that go on to win or at least make it to the finals. But I've never seen someone just win competitions and that was their path to the end. I could see that eventually being the case for Ryu. Um, I'm
I
a
don't know. I just feel like I don't, I mean, he's expressed that he's not really great at challenges. Um, so I'm just not sure if he could win out, but I'm kind of banking on the fact that maybe his bluff that he'll play the idol will carry him.
I'm gonna give him a four. Could be bumped down. We'll see how everyone else scores. Because Ryu was actually pretty good at challenges and Paradox. I don't know if he was
Oh, okay.
blindsided by that fact, but that's why I'm like, I could see a world where he does win out because I don't know who of this cast is like, there's people who I know have shown the ability to be comp beast before. Like, I know Aaliyah has like in
Aaliyah
a
and
way won
Mikey
out in distortion,
probably.
and like Mikey, I know like can win a bunch of. I mean, he wins this first challenge here, like so. Billy has some potential, but I don't. And there's a couple of people who I know aren't good, like Kevin. I don't think is good. Jeremy's never seemed to be like type of like the challenge beast kind. I don't know Edward, but I don't know anyone else's, and Jay Wan too. But like I don't know Bryant's, Edwards, Lily's. Even Caleb,
G1,
I
I
don't
have
know.
to consider a comp threat after winning Statue of Liberty in the mini while bending his knees. That was one of the most
That
impressive
is
things
fucking
ever.
that is actually really true. Actually, I lied. He actually was really good at hypnotic. Like the back half, he did end up winning out. So I mean, maybe J1, but yeah, no, Rio's a four for me right now.
Um, I'm gonna give him a five. I don't know. I
Mm,
might be influenced by current things, but I'm gonna give him credit for the bl see how long he can keep the idle bluff going.
hopefully it's long. But speaking of idol, we have Sanam, which I
Probably, think I have to agree with the one for obvious reasons. But the thing, okay, apparently people were like trying to hint to her to play the idol, and that I think people said that like Ryu kind of said that she was in trouble to her face, but like Orgers can't read, they can't do math. There's a lot of things Orgers can't do. One of the many things that we can't do is notice hints when they're being dropped.
read between the lines. Again,
Read
it's an
between the
extension of them
lines.
not being able to read.
Yeah, exactly. Um, and I think that they were dropping hints. Like Edward may have been hinting to her that he knew about the bananas. And Sanam actually did kind of pick up on that, so I'll give her credit for it. But she just wasn't confident enough in that to do anything with it. Obviously, she didn't play the idol, and I mean, it's just credit to the other people who were just misting her so much that they got her to not play the idol. When it's like, it is, you really have to make that debate. Like, do you play the idol when it's like, I can make it one more round, make it to live night? And she felt so confident in making it to live night that she wouldn't get voted out. And you have to know when to manage that greediness. Weirdly, she went home on the greed round and she was kind of being greedy with the idol. Um, so I mean, for the idle play alone, it has for the lack of idle play, it's a one because like you need to play it, which I know it's hard in that situation. I've been Jamesed in a game before, so because I was greedy and I was like, if I just make it one more round, then I can play, idols in back-to-back rounds and like I'm set. So it's hard.
I mean, hey, I've been voted off with an idol in my pocket before. I've definitely been there, at a point where I definitely was confident, very comfortable in the game. But here's the problem. Like, at least you would meet both. But for one, you had two idols. Yours was deeper in the game, right? Because yours was it was James. It was seventh, so it's like you literally were taking out the last opportunity,
Well, when I say
right?
James, I mean like I had literally
Two
two idols in my
idols.
pocket.
Yeah.
And it was either seventh or eighth, I don't remember, but I was like, I needed to just make it like I needed to survive the tribal that I went to,
Mhm.
and then I would have been like gone like final four or something.
Yeah. It's like, at least for you, it's like, oh, I have two idols I gotta preserve. For hers was just making it to the milestone of jury, and she's not guaranteed or locked in safe at that point. There's so much more game to go to be preserving an idol. Which like I understand it's a very powerful tool, but it was very common knowledge about this whole tribe that Sanam had an idol, so they very much played around it. Um, and made it so that Sanam would not get her way. So even if she played it successfully, the person she wanted to get out, being Edward, which I don't get why, I don't get what the issue between the two of them was, but apparently there was, that Edward would not have gone home. And unless she linked up with her allies and tried to like pitch this at tribe at like live night, then like Edward would still have made it to past day 22. But she herself is saying that that it was going to be a straightforward vote. She says in a confessional, "Oh, finally, the shitstorm that I've been waiting 3 weeks for, it's finally arrived." She sends a VLDR saying that she is in danger. She sends the little kid from The Simpsons like, "Hee, I'm in danger." It's like sitting like the back of the butt. So I'm thinking
That
she's
makes it
playing
worse.
along.
I forgot that. I
I
saw that and I oh,
And she ended up on a tribe with with no one she's ever met, with all people who she's never met in the game at this point. None of them owe her anything. It's like her, and it really puts her. game up until this point into perspective for me because she
Hmm.
really hasn't had the chance to play with anyone outside of OG Baravi. But she's played with J1, but that is it. She ended up on a tribe where in the
That's
short term
true.
it was amazing. But for her long-term prospects meant that in most swap tribes she would end up with a majority that she has never met before. If she had somehow survived this tribe, let's say they didn't lose. Let's say Ryu did not end up taking green, and maybe Jeremy did from the other tribe instead, which, maybe someone from Ravi taking it, like a Kevin, like a Brian, maybe J1 would have been better off for it if that meant protecting Sanam, and protecting the idol. Um, she still would be in lots of danger. She would be taking gang shots by all cylinders from these people as well who believe that she is too good, from even people within their own bananas, with two of the three of them even explicitly saying that they would want to take a shot at Sanam, whether it be in the immediate future, some point down the road. Sanam would have had a rocky road to the end regardless. But just in this situation where compared to what we could have projected for her to have to deal with long term, just this tribal, the signs were all present, even without people hinting to her to play the idol. And Sanam, no, Lily, who refused to vote her off, and like she couldn't bring herself to do this, could have easily just told her to play the damn idol. Just get rid of Sergio, get rid of whomever, and could have been fine. But nobody, like everybody at some point benefited from and really wanted to take Sanam out, or at least Sanam's idol out. So she would have been exposed. She would have, at best, been here without an idol, but at least she would have been here. And she would have had your Kevin undyingly loyal to her, would have had at least Bryant and Jeremy, maybe ideally taking her a little bit further than just like 10th or ninth. You have J1 trying to protect her, like, and maybe through those people, they could also try to rope in other people. J1 might have rope in Edward, and maybe Lily might feel a little bit more like, I need to keep Sanam a little bit longer to keep the woman here. Um, but no, just she's been asking for this. For 3 weeks, she was super comfortable. She was super chill. She wanted a hectic night. And hectic night she got. And she could have played the idol to make it more hectic. She could have experienced more, but just for how confident she was in this situation, yeah, I gotta give her a one. This is my contender. Like after Ryu did the plumb bob thing, I didn't. There's so many things that I'm like, oh, of course they're going to do this, right? It's like Zach not playing the damn power in BB 27. Like, of course he's playing it, right? Right, right. But she doesn't. I thought, oh, for sure, Sanam's going to play this. Same way I thought J1 would have played it if they went to tribal again. So she would have been in danger over there too. Like, there's lots of points in this game where her being so comfortable and not being aware of just how much in danger she is. Like, and people are telling her, I saw you when hypnotic. Like, the second I hear anything about, oh, I saw you win this game, nah, I'm playing that out first. It's like, I don't feel fucking good. Like, if anyone's being that open with me about that, no, get to one. And we could to move on to the next player because he also gets the one. For very, he was playing so messy. To his own admission too, he sends us a message that he's agreed to three plans. One to get rid of Sanam, one to get rid of Edward, and one to get rid of Lily. And you cannot make this shit up if you tried. After he sends this message, the next message we see in his house chat was, I'm locking in my vote for Caleb. If that does not illustrate how indecisive and how much mess he was like doing himself, like that, I don't know what to tell you because Sergio, whom I had been hyping up this man for 5 episodes, just been like, oh, he could go super far if he just keeps it cool. It's like the aftermaths of tribals are so good for him that there's people who Oh, and at their peak, at their highest height of frustration with people who may have blindsided them or may not have given them their way or given them permission to get their way. Um, Sergio is almost never going to be pointed out as the person who betrayed the person the most, which I think is now looking back and seeing how this round played out. It's kind of more like akin to them doing more work to forge that relationship, for it to be a backstep, for it to be a betrayal for them to do what they do against them to begin with. That Sergio just wasn't making that. Like Sergio was somebody whom I had said could go anywhere in this game. He could be someone who slides all the way to the end as somebody who just like people forget about and people aren't worried about because he's not a threat, he's not a danger, and he's actually like a more known quantity than most of the other people on this cast. But then also could be somebody who last episode I picked a perfect episode to be objective and be realistic about Sergio's prospects in the long term. And I got down on the stand horse just for a moment last episode. So pat myself on the back for at least timing it correctly. So I'm not completely I don't fall off the bull, you know. So it's at least I braced myself for landing off the bull. That he is somebody who can go home early and be seen as the eternal backup. That as somebody who may not be anyone's first choice to go home, but is most, if not everybody's second. And I said that I could see a world where Caleb, out of fear that he will lose Edward, would push for Sergio to be the backup name. And look at where the hell we ended up. We have all the votes lined up for Sanam to be going by majority, but just enough votes so that Sanam doesn't idle out Edward. Because everybody, all four of these people, resigned to the fact not only do they want Sanam's idol gone, but they don't care about Sergio anymore. So even if he showed up, I don't think that would have changed much because he did way too much. He was already being talked about on the opposing tribe as somebody that they can potentially take out. As he actually, I thought the whole Morgan thing he would have escaped from. Like I understand like Mikey may be feeling some type of way about this too, but I feel like the Lily of it all, like the Ryu taking the greed that Ryu would take the brunt of the heat from the Morgan boot, with Sergio just kind of being somebody like he was supposed to go, like he had to save himself, like he like why are we villainizing Sergio for doing this? Sergio was both being painted as someone inactive, but also someone who did what he did, which I was not expecting him to catch heat so quickly. But yeah, one for sure. Jared, tell me how you were right and how I was wrong for the entirety of Stockwatch about Sergio to this point.
No, Sergio, like, he really wasn't playing bad, like, extremely bad, really until, like, this round when his craziness went full, like, full force. One of his many changing of mind things, I'm he was on a call with Ryu, threw out the idea of voting Caleb, and Ryu shut that down so quickly. Then he was like, I shouldn't have done that. That was stupid. It's like, no shit. Like, you're gonna try to throw out the guy who's like number one in trust rankings on this tribe. It's just, I mean, I think that he really he was doomed no matter what. I don't know what. I think it's just his perception of him kind of doomed him, or people's perception of him doomed him after this vote because of like Mikey having played with him, on other swaps and potentially other games. Same thing with Aaliyah. I think, several of these people knew him outside of the game from other orgs, but then also just like in this org specifically. Um, he's kind of seen as a little bit inactive. So it's like he's just an easy target. But yeah, I think that if he could have played, it's like you said, post-tribal, he's great. But then like pre-tribal, he's bad. Like it's actually his pre-tribals really weren't that bad this season, other than this one. I would say. He also didn't like he went to a few tribals. I mean, he went to the Morgan one, he went to the Marvin one, he went to this one. Um, so like he really hadn't been too bad up until this point, and I think that this was the nail in the coffin for him. So I mean, unfortunately, he has to get a one.
I had so much faith. I was so and no, because it's like I know maybe it was hopeful wishing for long. I'm trying to like stop with this. Sergio is somebody whom, if this cast was more active around him, he would have maybe had fared. You'd argue he'd fare worse because oh, people are being more active, people are forging stronger bonds, which I do think there were more socially, obviously stronger people socially on this cast than him specifically. But this was a cast that, or at least this round, like so much indecisiveness, so much passiveness that they had to somehow overcome in turn to get Sergio to be any type of target. Because up until maybe an hour before Tribal, we still didn't know who was supposed to be going home. And not only till like the final seconds are we like, I think it's Sanam. And it seems like the play like the four of them got together and was like, okay, like enough of the bullshit. Like, can we decide who we're voting off, please? Get a group. Um, and already his stock would have been low, even if he had survived. Like, let's say, like somehow, like Bravi got rid of Mikey. Be cool. Why? Like, let's say Mikey lost immunity, and then just like, okay, let's just get rid of Mikey. Mikey clearly is a threat physically, whatever. He's picking up activity wise. Get him out. Sergio would have still his stock still would have been low, both for the fact that he's leaves Raluve with everyone feeling close with each other except for him, and then him losing the person who he was trying to. And he, not even that, he voluntarily voted off. Like he was involved in the plan to get Sanaim out and Sanaim this idol, but this person he kept saying like, "Oh, I want to get this trio of me, her, and Lily going on." Like we're all like getting information from all these tribes, which is a very smart idea. Like don't get me wrong, I love the concept of that. Um, I don't think he would have been able to pull it off just with the way that the tribe makeup was. It was 3-2-1. Sudan was alone. That's like no one cares about Sudan. Like it would be hard to pitch to Lily, whom he had blindsided still, clearly not as aversively as Ryu did, but it's neither here nor there.
Really
Um,
quickly, I don't want to touch on this for too long because I do want to get to this other tribe.
yeah.
Who do you credit most with the 3-2-1?
I well, for one, I give Edward lots of credit because Edward correctly assessed, like, and like lots of people were going to Edward, and like I feel much better about the eight. I felt shaky at first when I gave it to him, but now I feel really good about it. Um, and everyone was talking about it, I think, immediately after the tribal, where it's like, hey, I gotta do what's best for me. Like, I gotta, like, I don't think, like, he made the necessary precaution so that it wouldn't have been him had Sanam played or Idol. He knew the risk he was taking by not only letting people know about Sanam's Idol, period, but also to still advocate for her to go home. Um, I think quite give most credit for. I think Edward knew and probably was just inherently incentivized to throw a vote on someone not named Sanam. So that even in the event that like Sergio and Sanam try to pull something together, like at least like Edward and Lily's two votes can at least tie theirs,
Yeah,
and maybe
and
they
he
could win
knew
out
that
in
Lily
the
was going to vote for Sanam,
exactly. So I give Edward credit in that regard. I feel like Caleb benefited the most.
but he also knew. I th him and Edward, I think, knew that it was going to be like two votes Sanam, two votes Sergio, and
Yeah.
then like one vote Edward.
Yeah. So it's like I probably would give most of the credit to Caleb. Um, but I also would be able to give a fair share amount of credit. I mean, obviously, like anyone involved in the plan deserves some type of credit to some extent.
Hmm.
But I feel like Caleb and Edward play more of an integral part in making sure it was Sanam going specifically than like Lily and Ryu, who Lily was like, I can't bring myself to vote off Sanam, which I wouldn't give credit to anybody Like, because Lily wouldn't have pushed for something she was so like humanely against. I don't feel. I think she would have. They like
That
backed
played
off of her.
perfectly what
Yeah,
they needed for the 3-2-1.
exactly. It's like they took him, and then Ryu is
He wants to take credit.
yeah, he wants to cry. If I could give it to him. Um, do you want to go first for Aaliyah?
Yeah. So Aaliyah, trust ranking wise, she was tied for last actually on this tribe. And if I'm worried to think about what would have happened if Sergio was potentially there at Live Night. Because essentially what ended up happening during Live Night was it was like a spoken thing, but like kind of also like an unspoken thing of like we're gonna vote off one of the two people who aren't here, which is Sergio and Aaliyah. Now, Aaliyah was never, from my perspective, in my room, which I didn't have like that many people in it until like the very end. I don't think Aaliyah was ever really in danger during Live Night, even though she wasn't there. She ended up self-voting. But if you think about it, um, if Sergio was there, she could have been an easy target for the live round. And if we would have lost her at the live round, I would have been upset because of her long-term prospect is so good in any game that she's in. Um, so I kind of had to dock her some points for the live night, but she survived. The only vote she received and ruined her perfect record was from herself. Um, what did I gave Aaliyah a 5 last time. I mean, this I I was just like stopped looking at this tribe and was just solely focusing on Roluve because I needed to keep up with the chats. And I was like, whatever about this other tribe, they're probably just going to be planning about live night. I want to hear what's going on with the tribal. Um, I mean, she has Mikey, continue that connection. I think she built a good connection with Jeremy. I don't really know how this round helped her with Bryant, Jay, or Kevin. Um, this is hard. I kind of, I'm debating between like a 4 and a 5.
That's too high for me, but you know, I do the burying of my face not because I'm well, for one I'm disappointed, but I'm just like she needs to skip this episode. It's just I got
I mean, I think that it'll be interesting to see her in the merge setting and how if she does better in that, especially with I think with her first two tribes worked out well for her, I would say. Um, because she got with Caleb, she who was there, she got to interact with Ryu some. Um, and her and Sergio weren't really working together, but she got the initial connection with Caleb and Ryu, which was really good for her. She then, you know, at least got to meet Edward and started to build a connection with Jeremy. But then this tribe just was truly bad for her and just like the people on it. Because I just don't see like her and Kevin really getting along. Her and Bryant could, but I just don't think that they really did a lot of communicating. Again, I don't know about her and Jay. Um, for this round, I'll give her a 4. And Jacob's about to give her like a 2 or a 1.
I okay, here's the thing. 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 This is neither the first time she's fallen asleep during something you really should be in attendance for. It's not the second. I doubt it's the third, and I definitely doubt it will be the last. And I have told her many a time, even considering this happened while I have hosted her and you were there. She was supposed to send her nom. She didn't send the shit. We tell her to send the shit. We tell everyone to send the shit just in case something happens. I am in church and I need to call this woman on everything that I have her on to wake her up. Nominations. And I told her, great. I considered her versus All Alarm Clock as the rivalry of the season because those two could just not get along for the life of them. So when we send out the link and we see everybody trickling in and I don't see her, I'm like, oh no, not again. Not this bullshit. Because I'm like, because I saw like it being like if Mikey ends up winning immunity, the fear of Ryu's idol being a factor. Sergio was there, like even if Sanam plays her idol, Sergio goes home and Sanam is there, present at Tribal. There's a good chance he gets sent home because of this. Which, in the event that they had lost this challenge, like if Jeremy took Creed and Ryu didn't, then I do think Aaliyah would have gone home. You have J1, I think, being a big proponent of wanting Aaliyah gone. I think Bryant's put Aaliyah last in his trust rankings as well. I think that they had at least prepared, oh, okay, well, Aaliyah will go and Mikey will be the merge. Because like they're thinking like it just like they can find themselves just their own tribe. But I think Ryu taking Greed took the target off of or at least gave Mikey a chance to survive in the event that he did not win immunity. Like if Bryant won immunity, maybe there's a good chance it's still Ryu or Sergio. But yeah, so that is bad. Um, and I just feel like just the this will start the narrative. For one, just getting us a vote was just not a good look to begin with. It just looks very like it's embarrassing. Like I mean, like obviously she's not actively playing bad; she's non-existent. But there's been so many people we've been docking for inactivity, and I think she's starting to slowly dig into that hole. And I fear that she will now be perceived as someone that is inactive. That despite all the upside that she does have when she's at her best, she's not at her best. She is doesn't really have the energy to be talking with people sometimes. It kind of just doesn't really seem like the point in this. I think that come a merge situation that there's a good chance that she can rebound and pick up activity wise and people might be fighting for her as a vote potentially. And like, oh, if these four stick together on Reluve, and then the bananas are, there's a chance that Aaliyah and by proxy Mikey both can be fought after, as a potential vote. But now I'm worried that this person that Jeremy and Edward were kind of propping up as like this person, this big threat, this person we gotta take out at some point. People aren't gonna be like scared anymore. And there's not enough people, I think, on this cast that just know enough about Aaliyah and reputation in the community to just inherently just be like, oh, it's just Aaliyah. She's clearly good at this. Like we don't have enough people, and the people who are here, I don't think are very keen on or like very high on her as in her estimations as a player. Like Jeremy, I think does get along with Aaliyah very well, but has already criticized her strategy. Jaewon knows of her from Bodo and knows how dangerous she could be from there, but is labeling her as an inactive really, all she has is Mikey. Like I don't think she really had. I guess like also Caleb is a really strong ally as well. So good thing that they're reconnecting. But
He's like the one person who is like knows her, like knows how her game works probably the best.
outside of this, so like it's I just you self vote, you get a one. Just if you self vote, you get a one. I do not care. If I had to give her a real ranking, it's probably a two. But I just no. Dude, self vote, you get
Uh, you made a
math.
lot of good points that reminded me that she really was close to going home. So I'm gonna lower her score. Um, I'll give her your two.
See, but perfect, beautiful, excellent. I don't need to keep being indecisive anymore. I'm just like one. Ugh, I give her two. Ugh, I give her one.
Because
No,
I
you so.
forgot she really was like probably gonna be the person.
But you know who wasn't gonna be the person? Bryant. Bryant, like I said, he's linking up with Lily. That is good. Has no rapport with the other three on that tribe. Um, like I don't think he's met Ryu. I think he's only heard from Mikey's perspective who Ryu might be. And like also like when when he links up with Lily, I don't think he's gonna like Ryu. Especially like if he works with Lily, that's great, but that's not good for Ryu because Lily doesn't fuck with him. Edward, I mean, he might be able to buy an in through Jeremy, but I think that with Sanam gone, I think what he should do is try to reinvest in Bananas a little bit because he's done a lot of good work with here's why. I think his concern was Kevin and Sanam obviously being as close as he was and him being the fourth of that group. And a lot of his talks in the pre-merge, like in his prod chat, have been talking about how do I need to take a jab at this alliance. It's just a matter of timing, a matter of when do I turn on this group of people. But now that Snam is gone, and he doesn't like he didn't need to do it. Like he did not need to be involved in getting rid of Sanam at all, and could reap lots of the benefits of Sanam being gone for like him positionally within his group. I do think that now bananas is something that he can invest in. Should that be like he should be just gung ho only bananas all the way to the end? No. But I do think that he should now his concern could be alleviated, at least about him being fourth in there, because I don't think he would be anymore. I think J1 could replace Sinam. He could be comfortably in that with him. I think that Jeremy, if he were to turn on that group, would turn on Kevin first. And Kevin, I think, is so just blindly loyal to this group that Bananas could actually serve him very well. If he picks up a Lily, maybe with Lily comes um Lily reconciling a little bit with J1, which would be good for him. Maybe with Lily comes Edward or Jeremy comes Edward. Like he does have a path that involves actually like solidifying the bananas as like a long-term thing for him. I think there's worlds where this could happen. Of course, he still has the taser, which is which is pretty rad, it's pretty cool, pretty dope. Of our this round though, he's one of the less interesting people to talk about because well, for one, I don't think he was ever going to be in danger. Even if they went to tribal, like Aaliyah probably gets sent home, and if, like the live night where they're now down in the numbers. In that world, Sanam is still here, which would have still been banana strong, yada yada. And I don't think any shenanigans would have taken place during the live night to change that or send one of the bananas home. Um, think I just kind of chilled this round. And now my stock would almost entirely be how do I think you'll play the merge moving forward? Because there wasn't really all that much to do. I don't think he's been as bad as Kevin. I like clearly not forging strong enough bonds with the outsiders in the event that they don't go to tribal council and might need them down the road. I think Jeremy has done all that work in spades. And I think it's partially due to the fact that Jeremy met Aaliyah before this, but it also goes with Mikey. And I guess maybe it's attributed to Aaliyah being close with Mikey, Mikey just trusting Aaliyah implicitly. Um, I'm gonna, because what did I give him last round? I think because I know he was on the up and up, and I think I've been giving him, not saying it without saying it, with the gestures. Um, I'm gonna give him a, a six right now. Could be higher, could be prone to change. I could be convinced to a seven. Um, but I'm also kind of want to look at the trust rankings a little bit from this round. And he was rated like
Was
not
he
not
tied
not
tied
too
for
shabby. He's
third?
tied for third. I was about to say he's tied for third with
Mikey.
Mikey, which oof,
How did Mikey get third?
don't get I don't know. But honestly, that maybe I will keep it at six. Then if he's stuck with Mikey.
I think that, like you said, I don't think he was really in danger in going home on this tribe. I think that if they would have gone to tribal, I think it would have been between Aaliyah and Kevin for going home, depending on how it went. I think that one good thing that happened for Bryant during this whole swap was getting Jay back on his tribe because they kind of locked in together because Jay rated Bryant as his number one. So that was good for Bryant to, have him on this tribe in the event they would have gone tribal. Um, yeah, I mean, he keeps up his facade of working with Kevin and Jeremy. Jeremy's 10 feet away from their alliance. Jeremy's checked out, he's boarded the plane, like he's gone. Bryant, is not like Bryant is also, checked out of the alliance, but not as much as Jeremy. Um, so and yeah, I think that no matter where it swung on this drive, Bryant was gonna be safe. Like we said, he gets with Lily in the merge, so that'd be good for him. Um, Sanam leaves, so that's already a shot of bananas. Sergio leaves, which is one less new person that he has to meet. So it's also good for him. Um, he has a taser, which at this point is still secret. So I would agree with the six. Like comparing him to like Edward for like, if you're gonna base it off of a seven or even a Lily, I don't think it's there yet.
I think it's like oh like potential. Like I could see Bryant being someone whom like runs the table. Kind of like I don't know if I've made this I feel like I've had this comparison in mind. I don't know if I've expressed this, but I see like Tashawn from BB 9 upside of like right at the end game, like he's a part of this core, like this dominant alliance with Jetson, and he's part of the sauce. Um, and he's like, I can't beat them. The guy just cuts them, and is merciless in doing so, and kind of like is well, for one, maybe okay, maybe you don't want to be Ty because Ty's jury management was doo doo water, but like it garnered some respect with like the fans, like it's like as his estimations of a player went up, like his chances of winning were better because he wasn't going up against a Jed or a Beth who he might have been doomed to lose to from the offset. Um, I could see him potentially doing that. Again, it's just been he's been very conscious about timing, so I'm waiting for a round where it's like should he have taken the shot here or should he not have? And
Mhm.
that I think will tell because I don't think he's been in a position where I've been like, does he do it now? Does he not do it? And it being so mixed that I'm just like, ooh, that's clearly shown that this was the crossroads. Like, if a move is supposed to be made, it's supposed to be here or not. So I'm waiting to see a situation where he really needs to choose. Does he say fucking and jump ship or guys, you write it out, and then I'll have a more confident idea of where he's going in this game.
The other thing is that Bryant can somehow always do decent at a challenge. Like he can always like he, I feel like a majority of the time he can be like me, like in hypnotic and somehow, do well in challenges but never win. Like he's really like in the other long form game he was very much always the bridesmaid, never the bride. And it's like a true fact. Like we rag on him because he lost a challenge one time because his glasses got foggy. This is
How the
like
fuck? What?
I forget what challenge it was, but yeah, it was also like a long challenge, but part of it was like his glasses got foggy. Um, but we see him get second somehow in the relay, which I say somehow because the second round of that relay actually looked impossible even like for me. I don't know how him and I'm not
Mikey.
shocked Mikey did it,
Oh
but
yeah,
like I don't know how they did that compared to, Ryu and Jeremy who made it easy for me. They got zero. So, it'll be interesting to see how these people perceive Bryant in challenges long term when like you don't really have to worry about him winning a challenge. He'll just do well. And that's coming from me, who couldn't win a single challenge in Hypnotic, but I can like weirdly win a random. I randomly won an immunity challenge in an org because like it was like the highest rated person, like the bottom rated person, like won immunity. The true bottom rated person didn't submit, so they were disqualified. So I got the lowest rated immunity, even though like I was actually like in a good position. So it's like I will stumble into immunity sometimes. Brian, with the competitions we have coming up, I could see him maybe winning one, but we'll just have to see.
And as we segue from Bryant to probably the biggest enigma for me personally,
I
from a
agree.
physical perspective, but and also like just projecting where he's gonna go, it's J1. Crazy thought, and again, this I think is someone who's even more so. I think I have to give him a stock based off of where I could see him going because you'd think this would be like a big round for J1 because like he has to get reacclimated into society. Like he needs to be readjusted to society. Um, After being abandoned on Exile Island for 3 days straight and having no one to talk to. But he kind of just like had already been because Baravi was the one that went to tribal council. Kind of like Jeremy, Bryant, Kevin were kind of all like, okay, we need to like loop in J1 and like Bryant and Kevin each doing their own work, trying to like try to ease J1 in. So J1 didn't really need to do much, like, which is cool. Jeremy at least seems to like J1, and not to be as negative on him as he has been on Bryant and Kevin the past couple days. Um, like so with Mikey, whom I gotta double check the trust rankings because I remembered and I keep harping on. Okay, like Mikey has J1 at number two. So okay, that's good because I know that J1 had expressed, being receptive to working with Mikey very earlier on in the game when Mikey was saying, let's link up with Morgan, like, or like, I want to work with you long term. And like, it seems like Mikey still is genuinely interested in working with J1. So I'm like, okay, that's good. And it's good that if they went to tribal team like Aaliyah, whom he had not met up until this point in the game, whom I won't say have beef, because like they've never played like a social strategy game against each other. I guess they played Bodo, but like they have their own reservations and for very valid reasons because it's mutual are just wary of each other. Um, so yeah, that's good. That's not good, but it's good that she would have gone home had they lost. Like J1 would have been set, and J1 would have at least be sought out after at least by Mikey to be someone to potentially vote with them, not somebody that they could easily just throw under the bus unless Jeremy like tries to paint it as like, oh, let's just get rid of J1. And that would be the easiest person to get Kevin and Bryant to flip on, like in a tied vote. Like that's possibly going to happen. But I just think Aaliyah just straight up just goes. Um, the people who get sent home, I think, are good for him, kind of, sort of, because I think J1 was sad that Sanam went home. But I ultimately think it was for the best because I think Sanam never saw J1 as anything more than just a tool to give off the illusion that she's not playing Tribe Strong. I don't think Sanam really would have cared about J1 that seriously long term because I think she would have just wrote it out with the bananas and just left J1 in the dust and was already talking about getting rid of J1 had they lost again. So she would have lost a lot of social capital with J1 specifically. And luckily they didn't have to go to tribal council for her to show that or be on weird terms with J1. But then, and there's also Sergio, whom he has never met. So again, just like Bryant, one this person he needs to meet. He does keep Caleb, who they have a relationship with. They were really close in Hypnotic. I think Caleb asked us preseason, hey, can J1 be in my project? Like they seem, I think they were keeping close after, which mind you, Caleb also said Zach Shelley. So like Caleb's taste in friends is weird, but like Caleb is somebody. Edward, Lily, Jell is reunited. That chat has been dead for eons. It's like that is something that's actually honestly, and then all he needs to deal with is Ryu. Who Ryu? J1 would not be alone in not wanting to work with Ryu. It would be a very lots of people probably would have some reservations about working with Ryu. Honestly, I'm giving him a 7, but I could give him an 8. I think there's argument for it, and I kind of want to hear what your thoughts on J1 are.
I just feel like it's so hard to talk about Jay because I feel like I didn't pay attention to Baravi as much. Mainly because, again, it's like I was focusing on the tribe who was going to tribal council. Um, and Baravi was on paper probably compared. I mean, Raluve on is so much more active people compared to Baravi. Like it's the gap is insane. Um, so I mean, I was thinking about giving him like a 5 only because I feel like he didn't do a lot. I mean, he solidified his things with Bryant. Um, it was like his main point, but it's like I'm not negative or positive on him. He did, I cannot believe I forgot Jal existed. Like it was inactive not because of the people in it. They were just separated for like 2 weeks or 3 weeks or something. I don't remember. I looked when it first came back. Um, so I guess they do have that. I don't know how loyal they will be to Gel. Um, but I guess he does have good prospects in it. Um, I'll give him a 6. Again, he really is like an enigma for me. So
Which is because it's interesting. 'Cause like Lily and Brian are Lily and Brian like close friends? Like, are they like
I don't know how like close of friends they are, but like that that DCP cast that we were on is weird, where it's like we all pretty much, except for like a few people, like still like we all get along. That um but I think that Lily and Brian can like pick up where they left off as like old friends. I mean they that's how they met is that game. But like it would be like how I would have worked with Ryan in last season if we actually were able to spend a normal round together.
yeah, because it's like the reason why I bring that up is because like if Gel does become J1's priority, like reviving Gel, like that this is my people. Because J1 seems to be the kind of person, and Jeremy also like does express this as like a concern that he has. It's like, oh, the way J1 is being sold to me is like he kind of links up with the group early on and just stays close and just plays with them, which like from personal experience, he is very loyal to his core group. So I do see a world where J1 is fighting for Gel to stay alive. But I can't help but feel like neither Edward or Lily's priorities will be J1. Both not just from
Yeah.
because like they've been separated with him for so long, but even just like at Vulavu itself, that was the case. Like that it was Lily cared more about Issa than J1, and even to an extent Edward more. And Edward cared more about Lily than he did J1. And even now there's Lily linking up with Bryant. There's Edward reuniting again with Jeremy. Like I do think that if Gel is J1's priority, he might go from being the third of a three, which is not terrible. Like if because it's a final three, but he might become the third to a three to being the fifth of a five if Edward and Lily do weaponize J1 and kind of like subtly try to bring in the person they care more about, like from outside of here into the fold. And J1 just kind of gets through just a lacking connections, unless like he fights for like Caleb, which again, J1, again, Caleb said J1 can eat his ass. So it's to be seen if Caleb even wants to play.
Yeah, and I think that also like the back Lily and Bryant, if I had to make a comparison, would I think they will actually be loyal to each other, kind of like how um like I was to Scott in Hypnotic. It's like you see this person, like you get along with them and will work well with them, and I think that they will prioritize each other in the game. So I think that it does kind of hurt Jay for Lily and Bryant, but those three, they have a connection, so maybe we could see like what happens. Bryant could, replace Mikey as, the fourth Voulez member. So, but at the same time, Edward has to meet Bryant, and Edward and Lily had to get along with Jay again. So that's why they're a mess tribe.
Now I'm like, okay, we're
Ooh.
good. We're safe now. We're safe now. We're good. I honestly, that does bring up a good point. Like, it's just like, because who's J1's person? I think most of the people on the board I could like pinpoint like, okay, this person is that person's person. Like
Unless
Caleb
you're
only have,
Caleb,
yeah, well,
an F7.
Caleb has lots of people. Don't tempt me, Jared. I'll give him a nine. I'll do it. But I just like who's J1's, and J1 does not have this yet. And like maybe it could be Bryant's. We'll see how Bryant and Lily link up. Because yeah, I don't know. It's to be seen. I don't. Bryant and J1 haven't spent enough time for me to be like, oh, that is they're gonna ride or die. They're gonna ride this out all the way to the end. Bryant could ultimately also be using J1 as well, and just be
Hmm.
only using him as like the first person he could find that wasn't
Yeah.
inactive that could have taken out the
Hmm.
because that's the only person Bryant has had the chance to foster that type of relationship with up until this point. Like maybe if it was Mikey or Lee or whoever, it wouldn't have been J1. I don't. We'll see. But you can go first about Jeremy, who is now facing the first veteran to be facing his previous placement head on.
Yeah, that's true.
He can get
Um,
10th again. Spoiler, he doesn't, but this isn't good.
um, weird. Okay, Jeremy and this tribe is so weird because he somehow ended up being the highest rated person on this tribe in trust rankings. But really, Jeremy like hates every single person on this tribe. Like, spoiler alert for round eight, he was calling Brian and Kevin idiots with Edward.
And J1, I think, is an idiot by association for
He's
this
an
situation.
honorary idiot.
Honorary idiot guy.
Um, just because of their gameplay and their logic. And I mean, getting rid of Tommy is a really interesting move still to think about. I think long term, I still think Tommy takes greed here. And then it's like, oh, well, then Tommy makes merge, and then he can have even more funsies.
Yeah, I forgot. Like if they stuck it out for that long and Tommy got the same grade Ryu got, you're telling me Tommy Fry not only makes merge, but he's not the merge food either. Like that would have been.
Well, I
Granted,
don't
like Tommy maybe doesn't play the idol at 11, but I'm just like he has to be the target, right? Like they can't, you
like
know.
remind me, in greed was individual, you always got individual immunity, right?
No, that wasn't offered until the fourth temptation. The other ones were just advantages, which is like extra vote steals to keep
Oh,
up
okay.
power. Then it became every subsequent temptation from the fourth one onwards had individual immunity tacked onto it.
See, I could see Tommy first chance he gets takes the individual immunity to guarantee him to get to live night if he's in this situation. And so I don't think that they really would want that. But then Tommy would be easy first boot, kind of like Sergio. So maybe it was bad for Sergio's game if for Tommy leaving. Um, but Jeremy, he's separated really from like the only person he truly trusts and can, or the only person he's met so far that like he truly trusts and kind of respects their gameplay is Edward. I mean, he's identified Caleb and Aaliyah as big threats, so he like respects their gameplay in that sense. But The only person I feel like he actually trusts in the game is Caleb. I don't know who he actually trusts based on because I don't trust his trust rankings. Like I'm convinced that he like most of the time just BS's them. Maybe now it's since it's merged, it might
Yeah.
be better.
Like I remember in Hypnotic, Zach Shelley knew when we were asking for trust rankings the first round, he knew where it was going, but was like, but for you guys, I'll give you an actual one. That I can't, I know for a fact I played with people like Nick Mana, for example. If you do you know Nick Mana?
Yeah, I played EXP.
Okay, okay, I'm sorry, yeah, you do know him. That he was intentionally messing with his trust rankings, assuming it's going to play a factor at some point. So maybe like Jeremy's trying to get ahead of that and just like, oh, I gotta put my enemies at the top. It's gonna benefit me, it's gonna be good for my game. But like I don't trust them either. Hopefully it gets better. But I do agree Edward is someone he genuinely trusts. If Edward is number one, he's meant to be there. When he's not, then that's one of my
Exactly. Like
this
I
one's
didn't
good.
really trust anything until we saw Edward at one. I was like, okay, that makes sense. Um, but yeah, I mean, I'm kind of backing off of my stocks of Jeremy now because like I don't know how he proceeds. I need to see how he will do in the first full merge round to get a good sense of his game because he doesn't trust Kevin Bryant. I think he might want to work with Aaliyah, even though Aaliyah may have gone home. I don't know how he feels about Mikey or Jay, so his game is just very up in the air. Um, but he wasn't going home no matter what. So that automatically, gets him maybe like a five or a six, by the fact that he was gonna control the vote or he was gonna vote in the majority, probably no matter what, unless he decided to throw a rogue Kevin vote, which I think he talked about one round, just wanting to vote out Kevin. Um, so what did I rake him last time?
Probably an 8 or a 9.
Ooh, he's not
So
getting 8 or 9
yeah,
this
he's
time.
he's not gonna get 8 or 9. I'm considering 6 or 7 for him. But I'll
Um,
explain my
how
reasons
did
later.
I can't believe we gave him a 9 last round, but he was like silently controlling is what I think we said.
Yes,
Um, I'll go with 6, but I'm open to change.
I am going to, for the sake of just because we already got the Diablo number. Do I make two Diablo numbers?
Yes.
Um, well, I'm chicken. I can't do it. But no, that's generally not the reason why I'm doing it. I think of the people within like that contingent, like the bananas of them all. I do feel like his relationship with Edward is paramount because like he was doing a lot of good work himself to like foster bonds not only just within the bananas but also like outside of like he was building that bond with Aaliyah. They were and they had a chance now with this tribe to even further strengthen their bond. With oh, are you editing it? Are you on the dock?
Yeah, I'm already
Okay,
debating
okay,
changing it.
okay, got it. Okay. I was like, who the fuck is changing it? Because I saw Tawny was on the dock. Whatever. Point being, um, yeah. So he's doing lots of good work in that regard. But now Edward is now making some good bonds too. And kind of similarly to how Kevin and Bryant are trying to ease Jeremy into working with J1 and trying to sell him as like, okay, he could be the replacement. He could be a number for us. We were doing a lot of good work with him at the swap. I think he'll be riding with us. He seems to want to work with you, Jeremy. I think Edward might be doing the same thing, but for Jeremy with these people who Jeremy has not met. We'll see how he interacts with them. I do think that his relationship with Aaliyah and I guess by proxy Mikey, because Mikey makes a chat with the three of them, that could also pay dividends moving forward. Aaliyah could be propping up Jeremy as someone that they can link up with again. The Tommy's mommies or Tommy's divas or angels, whatever the hell that alliance is called, they're now reunited now. So Caleb and Edward got a chance to bond more. Jeremy and Aaliyah have. That could potentially be a foursome that takes the game. Gaz the Bananas. Um, this is the one person I think he didn't think was an idiot because he's on his original alliance. And gets rid of someone who he has not met in this game yet. So I'm gonna give him a 7, and I see you could change it to a 7, and just hope that he. Do I think he's number one in the power rank in like the contenders? No, I don't think he is. I don't even know if he's even. I think maybe at best he's fourth, because I just think that he's.
I,
Yeah.
I was just gonna say I don't know how much stock I put into the Jeremy Kevin Aaliyah alliance. Great name. It's called Space Jam, but
My you didn't. Oh, I see what you did there. I see what you did there.
what?
Because you called instead of calling Kevin Mikey, you called Mikey Kevin. I see what you did there.
I didn't even mean to do that. God damn
Oh, I thought
it.
that was okay.
No,
That's a round date joke. We're time travelers. We're going back in time. It's something that will
no.
be funny when not in the context of this round. That would have been just a throwaway, whatever. But no. So
That's the irony of tonight. Is Jeremy Aaliyah, Mikey Alliance, Space Jam. I don't put much stock into it. I think it was just a convenience alliance.
I mean, it's possible, but like it's something. I do think he genuinely did some really good work with Aaliyah, to which that was. I just think it's but the irony, right? Just the coincidence. Um, but speaking of Mikey, I mean Kevin. Fuck, shut up. We're gonna talk about Kevin right now. Um, and losing Saddam, bad, really bad for his game. I think not now he is alone. He is alone in this alliance, being the only one who cares about it now. Or like is undyingly loyal to it. I do think there's benefits for Bryant and Jeremy now with Sanam gone. To try to at least like Bryant for the sake that like he's not in the worst position anymore. When you replace Sanam with J1, Bryant is in a more optimal situation with that group. Which granted, maybe with Sanam gone, Jeremy's even less incentivized to work with the Bananas long term, but Kevin at least has some like so there's a chance it could be revived, right? There could be a banana seed that grows into a banana tree, and maybe that's Brian Kevin's winning story. And getting that to happen. But again, kind of similar thing as last round. He's not really doing all that much with Aaliyah and Mikey, and is even more hyper focused on just he needs the bananas to stick together. We're gonna run the tables, and that's all he's thinking about. He's not even naming or even looking at anyone else on the because like he even in the scenario where let's say Sanam doesn't go, let's say like Sergio goes, the bananas still aren't even majority. And even when adding J1, at best, they're half of the cast at 10, which like is clearly not the case here. And that's still not like strong. And them losing Sanam is obviously a big like acts to this line. So what Kevin needs to do here essentially is try to foster bonds outside of the bananas. There's still a couple people here he has not interacted with yet. He has not met Lily. He hasn't met Edward. He hasn't met any of the 4 people on this other tribe. So he might be in danger just because of that alone. Um, but he needs this and now loses the one person I think could have been like propping him up as someone to link up with. I'm gonna give Kevin a 2. And I think this is really contingent on like me not believing he will look or consider an option that doesn't involve the bananas in some way because of how fixated he is on making
Mhm.
the bananas the Sinister Six alliance. Like that was the majority alliance from his season, and he wants to relive that glory. Like he like you see a bunch of people on Survivor like come back, just like I want to just prove I still got it. And like it's like when people saw Enzo and BB22 and decide he was just going to make another brigade. Enzo did not just try to make another brigade. He did his own thing and showed how repeatable his type of strategy was. Kevin is trying to make another brigade, and I don't know. We'll see. But how do you feel about Kevin?
I mean, everything you said is so correct about Kevin. I don't love the alliance name that they made with Jay, the plantation pod. I never loved it.
Petty and extra and unnecessary and like,
I
oh, they're trying to like
I understand the naming theme,
I
but
get it.
it's just like I just didn't love
It's
it.
forced.
Um, yeah, I mean, I think what also has hurt Kevin is that these four people who he has interacted with or who he hasn't interacted with, already have a negative perception of him from like like they just know about him. You think it maybe been through like the code names um challenge and hearing about him through other people or just them knowing him from other orgs. So he's kind of like the Ryu of Baravi, and just the perception is not great for him. So I think that going into merge, um, he could potentially be an easy target because of this already perceived perception of him. So we'll have to see. But yeah, he really clinging on to the bananas for dear life. And it was a really bad hit for him when Sanam left, and he didn't want her to go. He said, Sanam, better be on that Zoom when I get there. And I'm like, ooh, it's not looking good for her. Um, I think I have to agree with the two just because it's his prospects aren't great.
And then the preface was saying I took notes. I had people who I kind of went to the Stockwatch whenever we were going to schedule it, like knowing relatively where people were going to be ranking. So because we had already confessed to the fact that this is being recorded like after round eight, we know this is correct.
Yeah.
So we could have gone lower. We could have, but like this is I think this is being fair to what we knew about in round seven. But
But he also, I think, could have gone maybe in the live night,
mm,
but he got luck. Like a lot of things went in his favor for that.
now we got to close off. You can go first with Mikey, and I don't have much to say when it's my turn, but like maybe you might put some more perspective.
Um, what what did we say? Mikey ended up tied for
He was tied
third.
as third.
He is tied to third.
Yes, because it was
Okay.
tied. It was because it was Jeremy, and then it was J1, and then Bryant and Mikey were tied. Um, that tracks.
Okay. Yeah. 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 Here's the thing. I've going into the individual game is kind of where Mikey can shine better because he can do these individual challenges. I mean, we saw him win the relay live night challenge. So he can show that he can win challenges in which we both already knew that he was capable in challenges. So he didn't need to prove anything to us on for that. Um, it was kind of good that he won that challenge because even being there, he was a potential name. But then at the same time, it kind of put a maybe slightly bigger target on his back that he can win challenges. But we'll have to see what happens. That was a very physical challenge, and we don't tend to do a lot of physical challenges. Um, which I forget now what show was that? That's like I'll take the physical challenge. Double Dare.
I
Um,
think
you would
something
barely
of
know.
it. I wasn't alive for it, but I the sound right. I did have to do some research for that hypnotic Nickelodeon season.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mainly saw reruns, but like I had older siblings also, so um but I mean the thing that hurt him this round probably the most was the fact that they won, and so well, they didn't win, but someone took greed.
They didn't
So
lose.
exactly, they didn't lose. Um, so once you don't lose immunity, you kind of take your foot off the brake, especially in orgs when it's like if you get a downtime, you really want to take it, even though like you need to know when to take the downtime and when to not. Um, And I think that it would probably not good at this point to take your foot off the pedal, even though Mikey was like, he was gradually putting his foot on the pedal. Um, but I still have liked his activity level and how it's like increased from the very beginning. And he's being a lot more communicative of his availability and at least chatting with people. And I've seen him do more calls. Um, he, I mean, he was a potential to leave during live night, so I feel like that kind of hurts him. Um, but he gets back together with Lily Edward and Jay. I mean, I don't think those four will actually work together. Um, and I don't know how much Lily actually trusts Mikey or if she got over that. Um, and that's even like current day. I don't know actually. Um, I gave him a 3 last time. I'll give him a 4, but I'm open. 4, yeah. 4.
Um, I don't think that's fair. I think that with Mikey here, he has, like you said, has been making more strides to being more active. I trying to work out because I don't want to like mix up details from round 7 and round 8. That I want to say Jeremy was the one who said like, oh, like Mikey is back. Like the whole like Mikey being inactive, being a rationale for Mikey to get sent home, like I think is gone. And I think that now, like, if there's a chance for him to like pick up the pace, it, he now has not only would this have always spend the time for him to have to do this, but like I think there's actually room for him to potentially pull it off. I think that he is clearly very likable, clearly has shown, and I think, correct me if I'm wrong, I think he won every part of the relay. Because I know obviously he won the final part to win final immunity, to win the immunity just altogether. I know he won, I'm pretty sure he won the second part. Like he was the first one to complete it. I don't remember if he won the first part though.
I
I don't
What
remember.
was part 1? It was uh, what was
It
part
was
1?
like they had to like
It was
I don't know explain it. Cause I don't know how the fuck to do that, John. It was like they had to like they used the straw and they had to like transport it from one side to
Oh,
the
I
other.
don't he was up there. Obviously he moved on.
Yeah.
I think Jeremy also did really well.
Hmm.
So, but yeah, he was, high up there in finishing.
So I was about to say like I was clearly he's always shown some competitiveness. I think he's somebody whom just looking at his track record, and actually I kind of want to retread what J1 a little bit because he was winning out in the end game of Hypnotic, but my and now I remember this and I kind of had to like not like eat my words, but like his competition was like Jesse, Flynn, and like people who aren't the greatest in comps. Which like Jesse was good, but like that cast as a whole was just not good at comps. I think in the grand scope of things, Tawny was physical player of the season. That doesn't tell you the kind of the caliber of competitors we had. But no, so it's like, but Mikey also had one out in a Hypnotic season before, and I think had more competition. Like he had somebody also like winning trading comp wins with and Keaton. They were just running the take. And I've seen him in other games be the comp beast or physical player of the season. So like it's somebody whom I think can come alive and set a path of his own. I yeah, current day. I don't know if Lily trusts Mikey, but I also think at this point, if like Mikey has no reason to be mad at Lily, and I think Lily recognizing that and just like because Lily was supposed to vote with Mikey. Like I don't know if Lily knew about the glasses of it all, and maybe Mikey can like
I
I
think
guess
she did know.
wait, because Morgan did tell them. I'm pretty sure, or Mikey did. I'm not sure. But point being,
I
like
think I, I think Lily, Morgan, and Mikey had a chat,
and
and
discuss this.
yeah, they discussed everything.
Okay, wonderful. Okay, so like I I feel like Lily should recognize this, take advantage of it, and just be like, look, like we got duped. We lost Morgan. Got Leah here. Um, I don't feel good with these people, but I feel good with you, Lily. I've played most of this game with you. I want to ride with you. You are whatever, and tried to sell himself up as a valuable piece to, Lily. I know he makes the Space Jam alliance with Jeremy, which like in the context of like when this was made, and this was pretty much Mikey and Aaliyah's like final stand. Essentially, it's like their play. It's like J1. It could have been J1, but they chose Jeremy. So maybe Jeremy can have something. He has something with J1. I think maybe he can use. He has tools. Not the best tools on the planet. His tool shed isn't the squeakiest or the shiniest or whatever. I will also give him a 4. I think there's I this is the best I've felt about Mikey all season. And I think that seeing how Final 10 plays out, then I can better I don't know if he'll be the most active on the board still, just because he's busy. But gonna Mikey. Mikey's on the up and up. But we move on to the dreaded naming of contenders. We have lost Sergio and Sanam. And we now have to look at this. At some point, we're getting to the point where we'll still do 4, but we're slowly getting to the point where we're going to bump it down to 3. Um, are there people that you're confident that they are not touching this contenders, like regardless of
Okay,
how
well,
it's
we already know who two of the contenders are, so just move them over. We're gonna cut that process out.
who is it then, Cheers?
We're gonna keep, Caleb and Lily are gonna be in our contenders list for sure.
But will they be top 2? I could see Caleb being number
We'll
1. I
we'll
don't
get
know
to
if
that
Lily will be
part.
2. Yeah, that's what's like. Okay, cool. They are there. Yippee type junk. I think Caleb at number 1 feels right though.
I would
If you want to
want to
assess it, we could.
know. It's just really figuring out who contenders are.
Honestly, my I think Edward,
I could, I'd be open to an Edward.
because now he's linking up again with Jeremy, has that Aaliyah connection. I think through are pretty much have inroads with those two alone make up all of that swap tribe. And J1 too, for that matter. He's linking up with J1, and they can all play their part in pacifying Edward's name being potentially thrown out there. He loses Sanam, this big op of hers who did not get along with him at all. I think, and Edward does have the next best stock after Caleb, because I gave
Hmm
him an 8 and you gave him a 7, and no one was competing against Caleb's straight up just 8s on the board. Um,
Edward, I'm fine with. I think that he's a logical choice.
but now
Um,
we cut
well,
it
okay, now let's do our order.
like
Let's
Aaliyah.
go. Let's go like
Oh
alphabetically just down the list. I think we agree, not Aaliyah.
no.
On the fence of
Oh sorry.
Bryant.
What the fuck? I tried
If
to.
anything, he's like
Yeah,
gonna be like fourth.
yeah. I'm gonna italicize him just to see if there's shit. That's what I was trying to do. J1.
I just find it hard to see him as a contender because I still need to see him actually have
Yeah,
footing.
I think Jeremy I italicize as well, and then
Hmm
Kevin, Mikey, Ryu. No,
I mean, if I think Ryu's more of a contender than Mikey,
well, I already
but I
deleted.
think
Sorry, continue.
wait. Oh,
I already
Mikey for
deleted
sure
Kevin.
delete.
Yeah, I should delete.
But
But
Jesus Christ, I meant Ryu is more of a contender than Mikey.
yeah,
Yeah.
um, but is he
Um.
a? That's what I think. It's just I think that having the top 4 being all the 4 people from
Oh my
Relouve
God.
would be hilarious, but I don't know if that's realistic.
It
Because
just
Ryu,
Ryu is depending on how he does with how much he King George's it, how much he Ferris is it, like how much can he get out of not playing the idol?
yeah, you just have at least, which is at least you'd argue is more powerful than Bryant's. I'd argue Bryant's actually in certain situations can be more beneficial than the public idol. Like I mean, like Ryu's thing is like, oh, it's public. The power is significantly diminished. But you're playing almost like a different game with Ryu and his idol as opposed to like Caleb with his, where like it's not like everyone knows about that, which some people do, and that secret might even come out Final 10. Um, but just
But
like will he, won't
you
he
finish. No,
of
you
it.
finish.
So no. I mean, I was mostly done. It's like they're playing a different game. It's like the will he, won't he of it all, rather than like Rio has pressure. Like and Rio has pressure to do it, whereas Caleb has requires more like needs more forethought as like
Mhm.
foresight as to like, do I need to play this?
What I was just gonna say is Ryu is probably the perfect person to have the public idol, and I think that he would he would probably be one of the best people to do what he's doing with it.
Mhm.
So that's why I think that he could maybe survive a couple. And like if you get him far enough in the game, he's dangerous. Like why am I considering him now?
Oh, I gotta like change this. How dare I made it? I don't remember why I made it mixed. I don't know what she did that was like bad. I guess maybe other than like maybe like beefing with Ryu, but I don't know that. I don't know if I would make her the villain in that's in any. Um,
She just hates men, and it's
yeah,
so
word.
valid. Um, um, God, I don't know.
My personal vote would be Jeremy just because he's already been there, and I would put for me it'd probably be Caleb first, Lily second, just because it's presidency. Like there's
I would
seniority.
probably put, yeah, I think the three that we have locked in right now are like the top three.
Yeah,
I think, and I would probably do Caleb first, Lily second, Edward third.
I'm cool with that. And then of these three here, my vote
Okay.
is for Jeremy. That's my personal perspective. I could see because we're just going based off of Stockwatch, it would be Jeremy, but I see arguments for all three, so I can't even. If you are adamant about one, I'm fine with it.
Okay, I think that I have to put my mindset in this round. Um,
Because knowing
God,
what
that
we
was like a
know,
unnecessary Friends reference. Um, have you seen Friends? Hold on. This
I've seen some friends. I've seen some friends.
okay, that's better than Lily, who's never seen Friends, and it hurt my soul.
I haven't watched like the
Um,
whole show, but like I've seen friends. I've seen some things.
okay, Elliot, get him to watch all of Friends. Um, okay, for this round in particular, I think that we do have to put Jeremy in the fourth spot because I think that Ryu's like his idol stuff doesn't really come into play until episode 8, round 8. Um, and I think Brian got overtaken by Jeremy just due to unfortunately like the slower round and him being trapped on the Baravi tribe.
Yeah, honestly, I think so. It's like Jeremy's had the chance to. Not to say that I think Jeremy's like an exponentially better player than Bryant either. I think that Bryant, given that same opportunity that Jeremy had to foster bonds outside of Baravi, Bryant, I think, would have been able to do it. Bryant
Yeah.
is a very obviously intelligent and also a very charming individual as well in his own right. So it's like, I just think Jeremy's luck with these swaps has been more favorable than,
Well, what
yeah,
was it, the one round away from the Baravi people really
yeah,
helped him.
honestly, yeah, because like he got to foster relationships with all new people and like having Edward as like that confidant, someone that he can like implicitly like just undyingly trust. Because if we're basing this off of round 8, then one of these contenders won't be a contender anymore. Um, I would probably agree with Ryu. But we'll get to that. You gotta have to watch the next Stockwatch to find out what we're talking about. Which if you're like, if we combine this into like a playlist, is gonna play in just like a couple of seconds. Like, please watch it. Thank you so much for tuning into Spellbound Survivor Stockwatch. This has been Jacob Armstrong, Jared Voorhees, and remember, be kind to one another.